Welcome back to our next video covering some of the Quick Strike functionality. Today we are going to cover the Open Interest Profile tool. This tool is found in all levels of Quick Strike, meaning the reports available directly on the CME website, the Quick Strike Essentials version, as well as the subscription versions and enterprise versions that are available as part of the solution as well. There will be slight differences just in terms of the amount of history that is available in each of them. Today we're looking at the Pro version, which is what we've been doing throughout our video series, and we'll continue to do the same. You will see all of the screens in every level. You might just see the number of days, and the data drop downs won't be exactly the same. So why don't we just get started? So right now we're on the Eurodollar product. You'll see that we're currently showing the February contract in the Eurodollar. So let's just switch to another product so we can um, get you acclimated to moving around within the site itself. So we went to the S&P 500 E-mini, and you'll notice that we jumped to the summary tab when we switched products. You are familiar with this screen from previous video, which had this on the product summary page just as a quick overview to what was going on in that particular product. Again, you can recall you can click any one of these sections of the bar chart and get information about the open interest that's available in that particular expiration. To see the details associated with a given expiration, you come over here to the expirations drop down, or you might see a more elaborate set of selections here depending on the product. And the Eurodollars, you saw some more than a handful there. In this case, you're just seeing one. The S&Ps all trade in one sort of bucket and from an expiration standpoint. So let's look at the March contract and start from there. So you'll see what we're showing is we have the calls in blue and the puts in a yellow or orange, depending on what your monitor looks like. And currently we're looking at the February 3rd, which happens to be the last trade date, because you'll notice that today is February 4th. To talk to what's available here from a historical standpoint in the Pro version, you go back 1 month's worth of data. So I can go back and see what those values were at any day during the last month. So it's going to tell me what the open interest, the final open interest was on those days. Okay, so you have 30 days here. I believe it's 5 days in Essentials, and the same for the embedded reports on the CME Group website. As a reminder, anywhere you see an icon and some text, that typically means there's a button there for you to click in order to control what you're seeing on the screen. So let's take a look at this one, the data display settings. So if we click on that, we're going to see that we can determine the number of strikes above and below the at the money that appear. We can filter these strikes as well by whether the strike actually has open interest or if it has open interest change. So has open interest is obviously seeing all these strikes have open interest, but what you can do here very easily is look at whether a strike has open interest change, and it's going to just show you the strikes that actually traded yesterday. So you get a much wider view potentially of 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 where the change in open interest occurred in a given trading day. Now, there's other ways to look at that, but that's just a way to give you an idea of how to use these drop downs to affect change within the charts themselves. The next tab we're going to look at is this change in open interest. What this is going to plot is going to show you the actual change in the strikes for the 15 up and 15 down according to the settings that we have over here, right? So in this case, we have the same filters available here. We can look at strikes that have open interest now. If it has a change, it obviously had open interest, and then you could look at the has open interest change, but that's what we're seeing here as well. And one thing we didn't mention, you can look at both calls and puts or just calls and just puts. So I generally like to keep it on both calls and puts, but we give you the option to filter it that way as well. So this is going to show the day. You'll see it's compare date. So our trade date, the last trade date that we have open interest for is February 3rd. It's comparing it to February 2nd because that's how it works, right? It's telling you how much open interest changed from one trading day to the next. What's nice about this tool as well is that I can go back in time and I can actually go back as far as 1 month and see how much the open interest has changed in these individual strikes. So this is really great if you're looking for trends in open interest, or if you want to see if there was a lot of activity while you were gone from, if you were on holiday or vacation or in a business trip, whatever. And now you can come in here and take a look really easily and see where some of the big changes in the open interest occurred. And this is the case with each month that's in here, right? So if I go out to April, I can see my change in open interest here for April as well. And it's still going to be comparing it to that date that I selected. So if I want to go back to the default, this is my default. So now it's just doing one trading day to the next. So you have your open interest tab, which is give you the total number. We have a change in OI, which is going to give you the change in each of those strikes. So I find myself, I use this tool in both of these tabs, and in fact, all the tabs on this page fairly regularly. The next tab we'll look at is the volume tab. This is going to show you the volume in the strikes, and it's going to break it down by venue, right? So we have different colors for Globex, Open Outcry, and Clearport. And if you click on these bars, you're going to see that where the breakdown is. E-minis trading mostly on Globex. If we go to another contract, you'll see Open Outcry, you'll see Clearport as well. But that's not so relevant here for the explanation. The fact is it will enumerate for you there with the different colors to tell you how that breakdown is. And if you want to see what that breakdown looks like, you can just click on the bar. Okay, so and this is limited to right now just the actual trade date. We are working on the ability to go back in time so you can see what the volume was on a given day. Next, we're going to take a look. You'll notice that we were in the chart section. So here is the table section, and we added this recently because we thought it would be a nice addition, because some people just not like looking at numbers too. So green means things went up, red means things went down. Let's switch to let's go back to March, so we can take a look at one with a little bit more activity. So, and we also have the bars over here on both the call and the put side, and these bars, the magnitude is determined by the max change. So this one, since the max change was a little over 4,500, you're going to see that this 2650 takes up about half the section. So this section is measured in terms of the max change that you see here. This is just another view again of looking at the change in OI and the actual open interest from day to day. And like we did on the change in OI chart, we can also go back in time and look at the change in OI. So you get both. What's nice here is you get the numbers, you get the change in the number, and you also get a little graphic to represent, to give you the ability to eyeball that change very easily. Okay, so let's get that back to the default. And let's go down here. We have a most actives ranked by section. So what we're seeing here is this is going to be a tabular page that is ranking by change in open interest. So we're going to see the top 10 for this particular contract, the change in open interest for the calls and the puts. And then what's interesting on all of these pages and all the products, we also do a summary across the whole product. So very quickly and easily, you could see the change across the whole S&P 500 E-mini. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to something a little bit more complicated is probably not the right word, a little bit more complex in terms of the product itself. So if I go and look at this same information on the Eurodollars, let's just go to a contract that has a little bit more activity in it. Okay, what you're going to see is the change for that particular expiration, the change in the open interest for that particular group. So in that grouping that you see up above here, in this white section, you're going to see the change in open interest in that, because in the Eurodollars, these groups trade, that people think of them as whites, reds, short reds, short blues, short greens, stuff like that. But then you'll also see the same summary across the whole Eurodollar complex. So this is very nice because you could see what the change in OI for the calls and the puts was in a really quick way. Okay, and you can spot some interesting trends here. You see the open interest in the calls went down where the puts went up a tremendous amount. So there was a lot of put buying in the Eurodollars in yesterday's trading day. And the same as before, you can go back over time. So I can go back, let's go back, today's Tuesday, let's go back a week. And now we can really see, a tremendous change in open interest for the puts, and really no interest in the calls here. And that makes sense in the Eurodollars if you watch it, where the interest rates are and the levels. So again, a lot of things that you can do here. Just know that you can click on these drop downs for the dates as well as the data display settings over here, and affect change on that page. So I encourage you to play around with these. There's different ways to look at this data. These are the options that you have. You can even add another box over here if you want to combine put and call table. So if you want to print this out and save it, or if you're sending it to somebody, it's a nice way to get everything in one place, so you can get calls, puts, and then total combined, so you could really see the activity. And this section is nice when you're starting to get into a contract that trades, a lot more strikes than this contract happened to trade. And so just the ways that you can change what you're seeing on that page. But I encourage you to click these buttons with icons next to them, or this text with icons and these drop downs, and take a look at what these pages are doing, because there's a lot of good things going on here, a lot of things that you can get out of this. And this most actives, again, we have this ranked by change in OI. You can also rank it by total, which strikes have the most open interest, and you could also rank it by which strikes had the most volume. So, and here's the sort for the volume. Open interest obviously is going to be sorted over here, and then the change is going to be sorted over here. So just different ways of investigating where some of the interesting stuff is taking place. And then finally on here we have a history section. So in this case, we could look at how the open interest and volume have changed on a strike basis. So in this here we have 3 months showing, but we can go back up to 12 months. The blue is the volume, the orange is the open interest, and we could pick any strike we want and see how that open interest has changed over time, as well as what the volume on those particular days was. So just to mention again, we reviewed the open interest profile. I encourage you to spend some time in here, take a look. Be sure to click these buttons or this text with icons next to them. Those constitute buttons that will let you change the display of the charts into the tables. And make sure you take a look at these drop downs with the dates, because it lets you go back in time to look at a particular day, or it lets you go back to compare most recent open interest to a day in the past. So you really get some nice investigatory looks into the data that's available on the website. So that concludes the video for today. Look forward to having you spend time with us in some of the future videos. Take care.